So go ahead and get a seat. This was requested earlier, and it's about, this is a legend. Remember, legends tell how things come to be. This is a legend of where bluebell wildflowers comes from. Does everybody know what bluebell wildflowers are? You see them in the spring, all through Appalachia. So this is the Cherokee legend of where blueberries come from, and it is called the Kanahali Dohi, which means the warrior dog. And it goes like this. A long time ago, Alisinunta, grandmother's son, was arguing with Alisinunta, grandfather Moon. Or she was arguing with him because she was jealous of her husband because the people on Mother Earth gave him credit for everything. And she felt they did not appreciate her. And she says, and besides, they are an ugly, ugly people. Every time they look up at me, they squint and make faces. Well, Grandfather Moon did not think that was true at all. He said, I think they're handsome. And they smile when they look up at me. Well, that did it. Grandmother son then decided that she would kill the people on earth with a strong heat. For many days she sent down strong, hot, sultry rays and would not let her son, Aduta Niwadi, send down rain. Well, it wasn't too long after this that the land became dry and parched, and the people and the animals began dying of thirst and hunger. So the people went into the council house where the sacred fire burns, and they prayed to the Great Spirit for help. And the Great Spirit took pity on them, and he said he would intercede on their behalf. So the Great Spirit spoke with Grandfather Moon and Grandmother Sun. Well, Grandfather Moon, he immediately agreed to call off the hot rays and to allow Father Sky to rain. But not Grandmother Sun. She demanded a sacrifice from the people, which must be their most prized possession to show that they appreciated her. So then the Great Spirit, he revealed this vision to those council leaders that went up into the council house to pray. And as he revealed this vision to the council leaders, waiting below the council house were the people. And waiting with the people was a little girl. She was about this tall. Her name was Agaya Kamana Usti, which means she who stands alone. Now she was called this because her mother, her father, and her brother had died in the drought, and she was left alone. Well, she listened carefully when the tribal leaders came down from the council house and announced that the Great Spirit said that for rain to come, we must make a sacrifice to Grandmother Sun, which must be our most prized possession. And then the tribal leaders said, go now and sleep on this tonight, and in the morning we will hold council and decide what this most prized possession is. Well, everyone dispersed and went home, and as she who stands alone walked back to her grandmother's lodge, she wondered what valuable possession must be given up. She wanted to help her people, but she had nothing except her Kanahali Dohi, her warrior dog. Her mother had made it for her shortly on her 8th birthday before her parents had died. Her mother made it from corn shucks. She even painted a face on it with berry juice, and it was beautiful. Her father made a small bowl to hang on his shoulder, and then he placed a blue jay feather that he found last spring in its headband. Well, that night, as she slept, as she lay on her pallet, she could not sleep. Then looking at her Kanahali Dohi, she realized, it is you who Grandmother's son wants as the most prized possession. So she got up from her grandmother's lodge, crawled out, walked up to the council house, went into the council house where the sacred fire burned, and holding her warrior dog with trembling hands, she prayed to the Great Spirit to give her true strength. Then lifting aloft her Kanahali Dohi, her warrior dog, she said, Alisi Nota, Grandmother's son, accept my warrior dog as the most prized possession. And then, giving her warrior doll one last kiss, hug, she threw him into the fire. She watched as the Sheila fire burned, consumed her warrior doll. After her warrior doll had been consumed, she waited till it cooled down enough where she could touch it. She scooped up the ashes. She walked out to the western wind, she walked out to the east and threw the ashes of her Kanahali Dohi into the western wind. And the wind blew the ashes from her warrior doll all down the mountainside and through the valley. Then she went home to her grandmother's lodge. That night, she cried herself to sleep. As she slept, just as her tears, a warm rain began falling over the land. The next morning when she got up, she could not believe what her eyes saw. All over the mountainside and through the valley where the western wind had spread the ashes of her Kanahali Dohi was a lush, spreading green carpet of black grass. It had a strange, bright blue flower, the same color blue as the springtime blue jay feather, just as the feather from a warrior doll. When the people come out and sample the grass and the blue flowers, they knew that grandmother's son had been touched by the sacrifice of she who stands alone. So they lifted her up before the people and praised her, and they changed her name to one who dearly loves her people. And to this day, every spring, all through Appalachia, you can mark it down, the Great Spirit sends beautiful blue flowers that are blue as a blue jay's feather. This memorial is to remind us that it was stands alone sacrifice made your land living. Mado, she's thinking in Cherokee, so they can go ahead and stand up if you want to, and I'll turn this over if you have questions. All right, listen, your question.
You're asking, he's answering questions.